Okay. Right. Forgive me at times if my head gets chopped off. My tripod broke um, a few weeks ago, so I've had to improvise when filming. So if it looks like that my head sometimes gets chopped off, I apologise. But hi, welcome. I can't remember the last time that I actually filmed a video, and I'm at a completely different angle. I've just realised that, and the lighting isn't so bad. It's not so terrible. Um, yeah, still learning. Anyway, I've come on here because I finished another really great book, and I had tears in my eyes when I finished reading it. And are we going to be surprised? It is from the same author who wrote A Room Full of Chocolate. No, we're not. This is Stormhorse by the wonderful Jane Elson. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm really sorry if I'm not. But after I posted my review of A Room Full of Chocolate, that was back in July, I think, of last year. After I posted my review, that went on Twitter, and somehow she stumbled upon it randomly. I was a little bit starstruck, not gonna lie. Starstruck. Oh my word. Get your words out, Millie. Oh boy. Get your words out, girl. Anyway, speaking of getting your words out, this centers around a young boy called Daniel who struggles to read and struggles with numeracy, so numbers. So you can imagine that his school life is not great, and unfortunately his home life is not great either. And then the one thing that does give him hope is a scrapbook handed down to him by his, I'm just going to double check that I get his relative right here. I think it's his great grandfather. Oh no, his great granddad. His great granddad. Apologies. Okay, so his great granddad was a jockey, and he, oh no, sorry, his great granddad used to basically live in a car. His family lost their home. His great grandfather's father lost his job in the Great Depression, and they basically lost a home, lost everything, and the entire family lived in a car. And even nowadays, there are communities that unfortunately have to do that, or choose of their own accord to do that in America. I think it was it Sue Perkins that have recently done a documentary on Channel 5, I think. There is a documentary out there that literally centres around this kind of community that is like that. Some by choice, some who have no other option. But basically his great grandfather was one of this community. And again, like Daniel, in today's time, he really struggled, actually. I don't think that's an exaggeration, actually. And the one thing that gave him hope was this horse called Seabiscuit and his jockey called Red Pollard. And so much so that Daniel's great grandfather wrote letters to the horse Seabiscuit. And these letters are kept in a scrapbook, which now Daniel has. So whenever Daniel is feeling down, he can't do anything, he always goes to this scrapbook. And immediately I just thought, oh my word, that is adorable. So I started reading, and I'm not going to lie, it is a slow start. There are trigger warnings for poverty, I guess for living on the dole. Do people still say that? I don't think so. Living on the breadline, I think, is more common. Yeah, a trigger warning for that. A trigger warning for petty crime, I would say. Trigger warning for bullying. And I would say a trigger warning for struggling in school, I would say. But I will say, if you can pick this book up, please pick it up. It centers around just a group of kids who are basically the outcasts at the beginning. And in one way, in another, they basically find themselves through these letters that are basically written to a horse. And as you can see by the cover, another horse comes to the estate that these children live on, basically, quite randomly. Because where in the world would you expect to see a horse roaming free on the streets of London? That's quite random. Unless, of course, it's a city farm. But then, why would it be roaming free? That's a question. So yeah, that's quite random. I just want to see if I can read a little bit of the ending letter, because honestly, I had tears in my eyes reading this. Yeah. I feel quite emotional just thinking about it, to be honest. I hope I don't get in trouble for reading this. I'm really sorry if I do. But I'm just going to try and read a bit. To whoever in the future has found this letter, my dearest wish is that you love horses like me. Dear keeper of a scrapbook, I want to say hello to you across all the years that have gone past. By the time you get this, I will no longer be on this earth. I send you love and hope that you have Seabiscuit's horseshoe and my scrapbook safe in your possession, and that you love horses as much as I do. More than anything, I hope you have somewhere to live and enough food to eat. You probably wonder why the letters are in a scrapbook, not with the great Seabiscuit himself. Well, Ma didn't have the money for the stamps, and she kept them all and put them in the scrapbook because she thought they were a record of my childhood. Something to keep the past on, which I have now done to you. You probably feel sad that Seabiscuit did not get these letters, but I have a story for you. I'm not going to read on because I don't want to spoil anything more. But I will say there is a couple of pages at the end of this book that made me have tears in my eyes. And I have written a blog post, which I will link in the description box down below. And in that blog post, I have just given an insight into basically how dyslexia has affected me and still affects me to this day. But you can see that I'm a bookworm, and it hasn't stopped me. I'm a creative writer. I'm a blogger. I'm a vlogger of books and other creative stuff. I recite scripts and monologues as well. So don't give up is what I'm trying to say. So this book certainly tells you not to give up. Another reason. I'm sure I didn't look to see if there's an audiobook on for this. I'm sure there must be an audiobook for this. Just given the nature of it. But I'm sure there's an audiobook out there if you don't feel you can physically pick this up. I'll double check on Audible, and I'll say in the description if it's available on Audible or anything like that. But surely it must be, given the nature of this book. Anyway, just wants to say that Jane Elson has done it again. And that's exactly what I've named my blog post. Jane Elson has done it again.